They all signed consent forms to go. And then the vendor that is doing this for Florida provided them with a packet that had a map of Martha's Vineyard. It had the numbers for different services on Martha's Vineyard, and then it had numbers for the overall agencies in Massachusetts that handle things involving immigration and refugees. So it was clearly voluntary, and all the other nonsense you're hearing is just not true.
It's been a hell of a week for Ron DeSantis, and it's only Tuesday. Yesterday, the Florida governor learned he's under criminal investigation in Texas for his little migrant to Martha's Vineyard scheme. And today, he's been hit with a huge class action. Welcome into TYT Overruled. I'm your legal analyst, Adrienne Lawrence. Today, Governor Ron DeSantis has been hit with a big class action on behalf of a number of the migrants that he lured from Texas to Martha's Vineyard last week. If you recall, the governor reportedly had a woman and a man recruit the migrants with a host of promises, including transportation to Boston, all of which turned out to be false. Well, his stunt clearly backfired. Boston-based attorneys representing the migrants filed the class action lawsuit in Massachusetts federal court earlier this morning. And the lawsuit's allegations, well, they tell us a lot. In the class action complaint, we learn that the migrants were indeed refugees fleeing from Venezuela. Tired, hungry, scared. They were in dire need of help when they were approached by an unidentified man and woman outside of a migrant shelter in San Antonio, Texas. This is what they did next. To gain the plaintiff's trust and to induce unwitting cooperation with defendant scheme, the Doe defendants, those are the unidentified man and woman, provided items such as a $10 McDonald's gift certificate to class members suffering from chronic food insecurity. After luring plaintiffs by exploiting their most basic needs, the Doe defendants then made false promises and false representations that if plaintiffs and class members were willing to board airplanes to other states, they would receive employment, housing, educational opportunities, and other like assistance upon their arrival. Next, the defendants put class members up for free in hotels, sequestered away from the migrant center, and from the possibility of actual Good Samaritans finding out how the class members were being abused. These individuals traveled hundreds of miles in search of safety. They were legally here in the United States seeking help only for DeSantis and co. to exploit them, leading them to believe that their luck had turned around and humanitarian aid was on the way. That was far from true. On information and belief, the defendants procured and paid $615,000 for private chartered planes, $12,300 per passenger, transported class members to the aircraft and told them they were flying to Boston or Washington, D.C., which was completely false. Instead, the chartered airplanes dropped plaintiffs off on Martha's Vineyard in the evening with no water, food, or shelter. No one on Martha's Vineyard or on information and belief anywhere in Massachusetts knew they were coming. The Doe defendants disappeared and did not answer alarmed calls from the class members to get information about what had gone wrong after they landed. But nothing had gone wrong. Instead, the scheme worked exactly as the defendants intended. This clearly appears to be exactly what DeSantis did, using these refugees as a political ploy to strike at blue states. Now he's facing 12 causes of action. Let's chat about a few. Foremost, DeSantis is alleged to have violated 42 U.S.C. 1983, which is applicable when government actors are acting under color of law. Basically, it's a way of holding government employees accountable when they act up on the job. In this case, the migrants all claim that DeSantis violated their right against unlawful seizure, which is the Fourth Amendment, and also with false arrest by taking them to Martha's Vineyard under false pretenses. The migrants also claim that their due process rights were violated largely because DeSantis denied them freedom of movement without good reason. Hence all the lying that his people did to get them onto those planes. The migrants also allege that the Florida governor violated their right to equal protection by targeting them based on their race and national origin. And that sounds, about right, given that DeSantis wasn't hitting up Ukrainian refugees, just the brown folks from South America. In addition to these federal causes of action, the migrants also hit up DeSantis for basic civil claims such as fraud, deceit, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. These migrants appear to have a hell of a case, and it's in large part due to the fact that DeSantis didn't try to hide his actions. He took full credit, boasting about it publicly, and making no effort to conceal his behavior. The man failed to consider whether his antics would lead to criminal and civil liability, and now he's facing both. Why is he in a place to run Florida? He's wasting millions of taxpayer dollars flying migrants to Martha's Vineyard, and now he's going to pay millions of taxpayer dollars to defend his little stunt. and to likely compensate these migrants to the tune of 8 figures. If hustling backward were an Olympic sport, Ron DeSantis would be a gold medalist. I truly hope that the people of Florida sincerely reconsider their gubernatorial incumbent come November 8th. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Hit me up in the comments below. Also, hit that like and follow button.